So it looks like a major portion of our judiciary has been compromised by activists, and I don't think they have any idea of the world of hurt they're walking into here legally. So I guess judicial impartiality just went out the window. First we have Ketanji Brown Jackson, then we have Chief Justice Roberts, now Justice Sotomayor, all taking off the mask and joining Resistance 2.0. I'm just shaking in my boots, guys. Nobody in this activist judiciary has figured out that we're still holding all the cards. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
Stand up and fight this fight. That was the message from the Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor to hundreds of lawyers. According to reports, during an event with the American Bar Association, the justice declared, quote, if you're not used to fighting and losing battles, then don't become a lawyer. Adding, quote, our job is to stand up for people who can't do it themselves. The Supreme Court Justice even saying at one point, quote, right now, we can't lose the battles we are facing. I saw this story this morning, hello, happy Friday, and I picked up the phone and I texted Jesse and I was like, did this go over the line a little? Because on the one hand, she basically called out these attorneys, right? But then she said, right now, we can't lose the battles we are facing. And I'm going, wait a minute, who's we? She's a Supreme Court justice.
Interesting words at an interesting time and speaking in front of the American Bar Association.
Yeah.
Look, I think she spoke in general enough terms that someone could say, well, she's just talking about new lawyers and she's talking about the legal profession and the need to be an advocate for your clients and to fight and to stand up. But you can't ignore it in the context of everything that's happening. Clearly, at a time like this, when other justices are making comments, you can take it for what it is.
Yeah, other justices, you were with us on Wednesday when we had that rare public appearance and comments from the Supreme Court Justice John Roberts. He sort of backed the institution. I guess it was sort of similar but different from Sotomayor.
I actually think he went more direct towards Donald Trump, talking about talking about the independence of the court, saying that impeachment is not the vehicle to go forward with if you have a disagreement with the courts. I mean, he took this issue dead on, and it was only a few months ago he did the same exact thing. And as the Chief Justice of the court, I think he made a more blatant statement. So did Jackson a few weeks ago as well, basically saying that the courts are under attack.
They can try to mince words all day, but there's no denying the pattern that they are creating. On paper, they are treating the Trump administration completely differently than every other administration on history. And you can see an example with the way that they're using these nationwide injunctions specifically on the Trump administration. And then the stark difference between how they treated the Trump administration versus the Biden administration. And with these family connections and the patterns of a lot of these judges that have been doing this, it doesn't matter how careful you are with your rhetoric, man. And it turns out we got an emergency failsafe for this kind of thing that their plausible deniability isn't going to save them from.
I mean, the fact that you have a sitting Supreme Court justice saying we have to stand up and fight this fight is lending credence to the claim or reinforcing the criticism that judicial overreach is occurring and that the judiciary is being used as a political weapon rather than the judiciary being used as a neutral arbiter of the law. And the fact that she said we have to fight for lost causes. The role of a lawyer is to zealously advocate for a client, of course, but the role of a judge is to advocate or zealously advocate for the Constitution, and those aren't always the same thing.
That's right. Her job is to interpret the law. Yes. Some plaintiffs and some defendants deserve to lose, right? Her job is to say, what does the law say? And this call for activism, unfortunately, you're seeing it in district judges. You also saw it at the Supreme Court itself when she joined Supreme Court Chief Justice Roberts in sort of an overnight weekend overriding of a local intervening in a local case before the Supreme Court would normally have jurisdiction. So we hear a lot about how President Trump has to follow the law, and yes, he does, but judges do too.
Yeah, it almost seems like her comments are this implicit demand for judicial supremacy. But when the founders created 3 co-equal branches of government, funny enough, the judiciary was designed as the weakest branch of government. And Thomas Jefferson said in an 1804 letter, there is nothing in the Constitution that gives judges the authority to dictate the actions of another branch. They're there to interpret the law and apply the consequences. But now they are speaking with this sense of finality as if they get to dictate national and foreign policy, which is probably out of their scope.
It seems as if the justice is giving the activist judges encouragement.
Yes.
That she is egging them on because maybe they are losing power or in danger of losing their power because now the American people have seen what they're up to.
So we're entering untested legal territory here, just like Jefferson and the Midnight Judges of 1801. So from here on out, we're working with statutory technicalities that are going to need to make their way through the courts, but from a technical statutory standpoint, this is all fair game. You guys know that lawsuit Stephen Miller is bringing against Chief Justice Roberts right now? He's basically arguing that there's a major gap in our checks and balances system that creates a huge vulnerability in the event that a compromised judiciary meets a gridlocked Congress. Check the video right here. The solution he proposes is placing the Judicial Conference and Administrative Office of the Judiciary under executive purview. And they have a constitutional foundation in this argument, as these are administrative agencies that would in any other context fall under the executive branch. Now, here's where things get interesting. What if I told you there was a way for the Trump administration to accomplish this, even if Miller and the team lose the lawsuit? Have you guys heard of a little provision from 1976 called the National Emergencies Act, the NEA? This act took 130 presidential powers and locked them behind a declaration for use in emergencies that Congress can challenge. Now here's the thing that makes this so powerful. Reversing it requires a 2/3 majority. Our judicial branch is flexing some serious muscle and they think they run the show, but they seem to have forgotten the Constitution made them the least powerful branch on purpose. Using the National Emergencies Act, theoretically Trump could bring the Administrative Office and Judicial Conference under the purview of the executive branch and immediately begin investigations into court procedures, into ethical violations, into the use of funds. And what do you think they're gonna find on a branch that's been regulating itself and engaging in oversight on itself for over 100 years? This would bring all the accountability the judiciary's been trying to avoid, and in a way that takes all their control and ability to stall away. Our Supreme Court thinks this is Brazil right now. They think they can backseat drive our entire country. What they don't realize is all this open partisanship is backing them into a corner. Hey, thank you so much for joining me, guys. You rock. I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one.